And we're back on the build phase. I'm your host, Mr. Ben, and on today's episode, we are going to talk about the cards that came out, were revealed. I guess they didn't come out. The spoilers that came out yesterday that I did not have time to do a reaction to, and I wanted to preserve my genuine reaction. So I avoided all the chats for like the whole day yesterday to be able to react to these. Now, one funny thing that I'm not going to be able to show you on this video, but one of the things that I do in all of these is I grab the URL of the actual article and paste it into the YouTube video, like in the description. And there is a mismatch. Normally, these the URLs for the videos say exactly what this says. So it'll say versus two, all this stuff. It's exactly right here. This says these cards have bite. The URL says these cards suck, which means I can't know. But what I think this means is that Danny or Ben, whoever the author was of this, thought it would be funny to say these cards suck. And I bet somebody in a suit higher up at Upper Deck was like, we can't tell people our products are bad. That's funny. That makes that even funnier, actually. Okay, so let's look at some actual cards here. These are going to come out in the third issue of the Darkness and Light arc, which is called Into Darkness. Deacon Frost. This guy is Underworld affiliated. So I was wondering if they were going to do Underworld as a catch-all for like the criminal underworld, but as well as the supernatural underworld. It seems like a little bit of a mismatch, in my opinion, to just lump all that together, but like we have other teams that are just lumps. Like Frightful arguably is a lump of different Fantastic Four villains, not all of whom were affiliated with the Frightful Four, which Vern talks about in like the contemporaneous episodes of the Team Apex podcast. The supervillains team as a whole, a lot of what's happening in the photographic universe. So we have these kind of like shoehorn teams. It's okay. It's not my favorite thing, but it's whatever. I care more about how the cards work necessarily and that the mechanics fit with the team that they're on than that we have yet another team affiliation just for the supernatural underworld to be separated from it. Anyway, it does make the team symbol just a little bit hilarious though. Like this guy's a magic user, so they have like bad mustaches and like 1950s gangster hats. That's funny. So Deacon Frost, evil affiliated underworld guy. He's a 2/4/5 evil scientist. Build phase, pay green, move an enemy supporting character to your side. That character may pay a green to cancel this effect. Oh, that's kind of cool. So that would be probably too good of a power to have right away on turn one, to just be able to rip everything away from your opponent. So giving them kind of an escape hatch for that power, I think that's probably going to be balanced. That seems pretty good. I mean, steal your opponent's JJ or Taskmaster or whatever. To level up, recruit volunteers when an enemy character moves to your side from evil scientist. Oh, so that's what it is. They tied his level up to it. That's why they give you an escape hatch, not because it's a powerful effect. If you're not playing greens, this guy's going to level probably very early. With Kane and greens, I think this guy consistently levels like 2, maybe 3 if your opponent has greens as well. Seems like he could level up pretty well, though. Oh, I like that art. Wow. I don't really care about this art. This art's fine. Like, I don't hate it, but it's whatever. That looks cool. Okay, so Deacon Frost still, name doesn't change. He becomes a 7/7/5, which is a big stat bump. Not like the best level 2 stats, but up there. Like there was a time where 7/7 on level 2 was like some of the premier level 2 stats. When Deacon KOs a defending character, okay, so this is just the vampire power, like out of the Buffy expansion. So if he KOs a supporting character while attacking, he gets a vitality counter, which is basically like an extra hit point. If he has a wound, they cancel. Otherwise, it would move him up to 6 hit points, which makes that 5 not look nearly as bad. Especially, well, no, because you lose that level 1 power. Doppelganger powers. When Deacon wounds a defending supporting character in melee combat, that character is not KO'd. Its owner searches their deck for a copy of that character and puts it onto your side. If there are no copies in the deck, they must reveal the deck. With kind of the new normal of online tournaments and as a integrity measure, having open deck lists in these events so often, that seems less good in this like exact moment in time, this little pocket. But the ability to force your opponent to, first of all, the first part of it of like stealing a power is good. The fact that he has to attack and deliver fatal damage, but it doesn't kill the character, I don't care for that. And can you... Oh no, it triggers when it's not KO'd. Okay, so it's not that he has to kill it, he has to wound it, but it not kill it, and then this power triggers, which could potentially lead to you getting to look at your opponent's deck. I'm gonna have to think about that. That feels good. That feels like a pretty strong power. Essentially, even if you suicide your guy into somebody, like you're gonna get like a 6 or a 7 drop maybe out of their deck. Or you're going to get to take a look at their deck and probably get a really good read on what their hand composition is. That feels really good. His level up feels totally doable. The healing built into him. I think this guy's playable. I think this guy can see play, and he's on a great team. Underworld is just a terrific team. Now, is there anything in the notes here that would prove to me that I messed something up? I mean, I suppose it should be said that there's a chance that if you go up against the right kind of deck, you never level at all. If you go up against a location-heavy deck that has plenty of greens to pay for whatever you're trying to steal, you just don't level up. You, as the evil scientist, do have some control. Like if I have a wild location for Guardians, but I have an Avenger that you could try to steal, maybe steal the Guardian, or steal the Avenger instead of trying to steal the Guardian, because that way I'd have to throw it from hand to cancel the effect. So there is some like interesting puzzles that you're going to have to solve with all of this. I like this main character, man. He seems good. He seems real good. Deacon Frost, 6 drop. Also a vampire, 9/6. That feels like good stats on turn 6. 1, maybe not like the best, but not bad. I'll give you purpose. Other supporting characters on your side have vampire. Wow. So remember when we thought they were going to try to be really careful with vitality counters because Senator Kelly exists? I mean, imagine you attack with this guy, a character with leader of some kind, and Kelly, so you'd have to have like Ironheart or Strucker. So like I'm talking about kind of a large combo, but you have this combination of characters so that you can like artificially add vitality counters to Kelly and win in even fewer turns. That seems like too late in the game for what people are actually doing with Kelly. Man, that feels really strong. This guy seems really playable. Wow. I like that. I like everything about this card. I like the card art. I like the stat line. I like the powers. I don't know who this character is, but I feel like I've gotten kind of a feel for who he is based on these 3 cards. I'm impressed. Oh. So I try to always look at the article that comes along with these so that I don't miss anything or make mistakes. And the comment on this card is sucky. So apparently my analysis is wrong. I said I really like this guy, but no, he's sucky. That's so funny. Okay, Lilith. Now we do have Lilith. Oh, Asterix Lilith. Okay, so I guess this is different than the Lilith that we already have on Thems. I think she came in Legacy. This Lilith has no team affiliation and looks like Aqualad, which is a little weird. She's a 4/5/2 Might spellcaster. Oh, I'm too old for this. Old at the dawn of humanity. At the start of your main phase, resolve the next one in order from the following: woman, angel, demon, goddess, spirit. Okay, so I think you have to start as a woman, and if she's face up at the start of your main phase, you daze an enemy supporting character. Then you get to stun an enemy supporting character. Then you get to wound a supporting character, then KO, and then remove a supporting character from the game and shuffle Lilith into her owner's deck. So my guess is that this is a woman in the comics who dies and then goes on this crazy journey, which seems really cool. I, when is this ever going to happen? 1, 2, 3. So there's 5. Yeah. When does your 4-drop live for 5 turns? I mean, maybe this one does because she essentially gives you 2 attacks every turn that you start your main phase with her. She gets to daze somebody, then she gets to stun them, then wound them, then KO them, then remove them from the game. Yes, she auto erases at the end of that, but like her stat block stopped being. She's a 4/5, so you play her on turn 4. You get to do all this stuff well past when her stat block is relevant, and she's going to be a magnet for attacks. I think this card is good. Yeah, I think. I mean, how often are we actually going to see the spirit thing trigger? I mean, if your opponent can, they're going to get rid of this, and they're not going to, because this isn't start a turn, it's start a main phase. So even if they stun her, you're still going to get these attacks that maybe she wouldn't have been able to get through actual combat. I think this card might be quite good, actually. In the 4 slot, I mean, there's not like all the competition in the world in the 4 slot. So you throw this in and just know that now your opponent could like play around it by not recruiting supporting characters or making sure their supporting characters are stunned or in some other way not giving her targets. Ooh, that's a question. If, oh no, that's not a break. Who are these cards? Oh, let's take a break from this level of immoral evil with a new card. That's not a break. Who chose these cards? So I think, and I could be wrong, I think that you go down this list regardless of if there's a target or not. So on turn 5, you get to daze a supporting character, and if there isn't one, on turn 6, you still get to stun. Because it doesn't say that you, like, the selection of a character is not part of the process of the power. And you do as much as you can. So I think the power triggers, and it either has a target or it doesn't, but you move on. But you move on to the next power right away. Well, not right away, but the next turn anyway. All right, so we got 2 cards left. Morbius. I don't know about this art. I don't think I like this art at all. It's weird. Like, the placement of the shadows kind of... Okay, whatever. At the start of your turn, draw a card. That's pretty good. If you go first, like, that offsets the go first penalty, half of it, roughly. 5 defense, probably can stay face up a little bit in the early game. I suspect Genius is going to proc a few times. That automatically makes this guy seem pretty decent. 1/5/5 with flight. I mean, not the best stats, but I think it's relevant that he has like a good defense over a good attack, because with Genius, you just want to be drawing those extra cards. When you draw any number of cards, Morbius gains that many XP. And so he needs to draw 9 cards. I already think this is my kind of main character. I love drawing cards. When Morbius levels up, KO a supporting character on your side. So it doesn't make it sound like you have to KO a supporting character. Does it say? No, that's on the next card. So again, this doesn't say that in order to level up, you have to choose a supporting character, which is then KO'd. It just says when he levels up, KO one. So if there isn't one, I still think he levels up. Might need some clarification on that. It might affect how good this guy is. Now, this Morbius art I really like. You know, he's like doing stuff. He's looking cool. In this one, like his face looks like broken pottery. Like he looks like a low rent Hamlet. To be or not to not be. To not be in this panel. Let's go back to this one. Okay, so once he levels up into the good art, he becomes a 6/8/5. That's a pretty good stat line. I like that. He has flight. That's good. He still has Genius. I would have predicted he was going to lose Genius. And with 8 defense, again, this is likely to go off even in the late game. Even once your opponent's leveled, there's probably going to be turns where you're going to get that extra card. That's awesome. The Hunger. Morbius can melee attack characters in his own front row? When he KOs a defending character in melee combat and survives, give him a vitality counter. Wow, okay. I don't like that you have to use your attack to do that, but it does essentially give him the ability to heal forever outside of like your opponent freezing you down or something so that you can't declare attacks, but you could just recruit like sentinels or whatever. Well, maybe that's a bad example because that one type of sentinel can't be struck, but that seems really good. It's weird that he's unaffiliated. I would have thought he was going to be like a spider friend maybe, but okay, so he's unaffiliated. But he doesn't need locations, so him not having a wild doesn't hurt him at all. I think this main character is going to be good. I think all these cards are going to be good. Wow. Okay, I think Deacon Frost is completely playable. His level 2 with the healing seems maybe not like the most busted thing ever, but good. Definitely playable, worth experimenting with. The 6-drop is great. I like everything about it. I think this 4-drop is great. And I think Morbius is going to be playable. I think all these cards are playable. And like, I mean, maybe they won't ultimately be efficient enough or good enough at doing what they want to do to actually get like high-level tournament finishes, but I think they all have promise. I'm in. That was some great previews. I'm really glad I didn't read what everybody had to say in the chats, but I didn't miss everybody. Okay, comes out on the 14th of April. I'm very excited. I'm way more excited for this expansion now than I was based on preview 1. Holy smokes. Those are going to be some fun cards. I don't know if they're all ultimately going to pan out. Like, the fact that Boomerang exists on 4 makes her... Well, no, none of his boomerangs can affect her because it's your turn. There are other... Like, Iron Man does, like, so much more to just, like, win you the game. But I think you could build around this guy. So there are... I don't think any of these are, like... the kind of reaction I had when Thor from Legacy was revealed, where I was like, this is absolutely going to be automatically tier 1. This is one of the best cards they've ever printed. I'm not that high on any of these, but I think all these are exciting enough that I'm looking forward to putting them into stuff and seeing if they're actually good. And given how kind of casual this whole arc has been, it's awesome to see at the end, they're like, hey, competitive players, here's some stuff. So... great. I'm really happy with all these. Go win some games.